All right, hey, it's Paul from China Cash Buyers. So we got a call yesterday from a woman that I met at a trade show, and she's a college professor, and so she's kind of a leader. So she takes groups to different places. They travel around. In this case, they were going to Los Angeles, to San Francisco, and to Hawaii. And it's a group, it's a pretty large group she's bringing. It's like 30 to 50 people. And everybody in this group are investors. So they're basically president of investment companies. And they're going to a convention in Los Angeles. And then after that, they're going to go to San Francisco, they'll look around, and then they're going to go to Hawaii for a vacation. So she called me up last night and she said, hey, can you help me? She said, I'm going to Los Angeles and I want to see some houses. Right? What can I do? You have anybody you can introduce to me? And, you know, there was a couple of problems. One problem is she doesn't speak any English. She only speaks Chinese. So when I started to think of who I could introduce, it was a real issue because a lot of brokers are not ready to get Chinese buyers. So even when I get a real Chinese buyer, or if you find a real Chinese buyer, you have to be ready before the buyer comes. You have to be all prepared. Everything's ready to go because a lot of buyers just simply cannot speak English, right? So you need to have some way, if it's maybe some translator, or if it's a friend, or if it's an intern, or if you have Chinese agents at your company, or if you yourself are studying Chinese and you have some way to communicate with people. It would be a real shame if you have somebody who comes over once looking for 30 houses and you can't speak Chinese, and so they go to another agent, right? So part of the things I try to do is tell you in advance what you can do so that you can be ready, that when the Chinese buyers come, you're ready. You're the man or you're the woman, you're the professional that's ready for these buyers, right? So yesterday was a real tragedy because I called a couple of my friends and nobody was really ready to talk to this person. Nobody could get on the phone and talk to her on WeChat. She was on WeChat. She wanted to add people. She wanted to talk to them. She was all excited. She likes me a lot. I made a speech, and I made a speech in Mandarin, and she liked it. And so she was actually at the event. She was the one person who asked like 1,000,000 questions to me. So I knew that she was interested and in foreign countries, and so I know that she takes groups of Chinese students overseas. But this time it's a different thing. She's taking investment. I don't know, some kind of investment companies. So I don't know if they're buying, I don't know if they're interested in companies or commercial properties, or if they're interested in investing in something completely different. But either way, she's taking a group of investors. So with Chinese buyers, because it's a new market, it's not as established as other countries. So you have to be more flexible. Like when someone calls you, you have to be careful to write them off, I think. You have to be open-minded. In this case, she had contacted me. I'll tell you the story. Here's what happened. I met her at the event, and after I met at the event, I immediately added her on WeChat. And the reason why I added her on WeChat is so I could see what she's doing. I could see what kind of personality she is, how she lives her life, and what she's doing. So in the last, say, I don't know how many months it's been. It's been about 4 or 5 months since the event, and I've been watching her lifestyle to see what she does. And she does exactly what she says. She's a college professor. People listen to her. She's kind of a thought leader and that kind of thing. So I was watching her, and she was sending me messages. I sent her a Happy New Year message. Simply adding someone on your social media is not enough. You have to communicate, right? So I communicated a couple times, and I told her I wanted to meet up with her. We never did meet up, but that was fine because we both made an effort. It just wasn't right. She had moved. She was down in another city for a while, so she wasn't around Shanghai, where I was. So I made the effort. Chinese New Year, I sent her a message, and you can send these messages on WeChat with like little stars falling out of the sky or fireworks flying up, or they have these kind of cute things on WeChat. So I sent her one of those, and then that was it. So then when she needs help and she wants to buy a property, I know for sure she wants to buy a property, and I don't know, her group it sounds like they're interested, but I don't know what's going to happen with it. But I guess the lesson for you is you want to be prepared before the Chinese call you. Because I guarantee when a Chinese calls you, a Chinese from mainland China, and they're ready to buy, you got to be ready. You got to have your dial so you can say, okay, just like other agents, when someone comes to your office, do you tell them to wait a week and come back? No, you say, come on in, please sit down, What are you looking for, sir? And you have your listings, you have everything ready, right? Same with Chinese buyers. You want to have somebody who speaks Chinese or some way to communicate. I want to be a little bit soft on speaking Chinese because I know a lot of agents and a lot of China Cash buyers are doing well and they don't speak Chinese. So if you have I guess this would be one other lesson from this, is if you are able to speak to foreigners without speaking their language fluently, or them speaking English, then you're okay. So what I mean by that is the way I do it when I can't speak a language. I've been to about almost 60 countries, and I've had to speak with a lot of people. I speak some languages, but obviously there's a ton of languages I don't speak. So what do? I don't speak like a child. I don't speak like, hello, how are you? I never do that. I just say something like, it's cold, or like, are you hungry? Hungry? Or let's go, or over there, right? And I keep it down to the very basic minimum so that they understand what I mean, but I'm not treating them like a child. I'm not treating them like they have some mental problem. I'm treating them like an adult, but I'm also giving them respect. Because most people in the world have studied English at least a little bit. And if you have the ability, I would say one is not to get nervous, to be relaxed, and also just to be able to communicate slowly and effectively. People appreciate it, and you'll be able to do business. Now, for people that need Chinese speakers and they're absolutely sure that they want a Chinese speaker, you need to be prepared. You need to have the telephone number. You got to have the dial where you can call somebody you trust, and somebody who knows you. Okay, because this is something we talked about yesterday. You don't want to be the day before the Chinese buyer is calling you, or the day they call you. You don't want to be hiring a translator who doesn't know you. Why not? What's wrong with that? You got a translator, they speak Chinese, you have listings, what's the problem? The problem is the Chinese buyer is going to talk to the translator as if they're part of your company. They're going to say, oh, Paul, what's he like? Or, is he married? Or, they'll ask all kinds of personal questions. And if the translator is just a paid translator, they don't know anything about me, they don't know anything about you, and they can't answer any questions. There's nothing personal. There's no way. And also, it's even worse because the translator is not a real estate professional. So if the translator is not a real estate professional, they won't even be able to answer basic questions about the legal issues of real estate. They won't be able to present your company with a professional, give them a professional kind of experience with your company, right? They'll just basically be able to say, okay, thank you very much. I'll talk to Paul and I'll call you back, right? So that's all. So you don't want that. So you want to have an intern that you've trained. You want to have a Chinese agent that works for your company, or you want to have yourself the ability to communicate with people who don't speak English very well. And that means, like I said, speaking simply, using a little bit of using hand gestures, but obviously not too much. You don't want to be throwing your arms up in the air and pointing and like that. Just be very professional, in control of yourself, explaining, let's go, it's time, I'm hungry, you rub your stomach. Very simple. Anybody can understand that. And you can definitely develop a relationship with the buyer. That's your first thing. You want to make a relationship with the buyer, and you want to get them excited about a listing. After that, when you get down to the negotiations, we'll talk about that in a further video. But for right now, it's like the original call. It's getting in touch with a Chinese buyer for the first time, and especially a buyer like I was talking to yesterday, because they have their thought leaders and their influential people who have a lot of people who listen to them and ask their advice about what to do overseas. That's the kind of person that you really want to be ready for, right? And with Chinese buyers, you never know. It's like, what's that movie? Life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. With a Chinese buyer, it really is like a box of chocolates. And you got to be patient, and you got to be wise, and you got to use your head, and you got to be prepared. And if you do all those things, you're going to blow everybody else away, because no other realtors are doing this. No other realtors have any clue how to handle Chinese buyers. So you're ahead of the pack already just watching this video. And thanks for watching, and catch you in the next video.